Double Dragon came out on a lot of different platforms over the years, probably the most well-known being the NES series, but there were PC versions to those games. Now, the PC versions of the games at that time don't stand the test of time quite like the NES games of that era do. However, this game had a few interesting aspects for someone who grew up with the NES series like me. This game seems to be more of a direct port of the arcade version rather than an NES port. And the graphics are a huge step down, but that was the best they could do with the hardware at the time. That aside, playing this game, the first thing I noticed is that there's now one button instead of two. Spacebar is now your attack button rather than having a punch and kick. Moving the character is very strange. The O and P keys move him left and right, and the A and Z keys move him up and down. Yeah, I'm not kidding. This game becomes much more playable with a simple gamepad setup using a key mapper program. I have to say though, I played a lot of old PC games, and this is pretty fast moving. It seems to have more of an arcade feel than, well, a lot of the other PC games in 1988. Here's another mind blower about the game. I noticed the scene where Jimmy kidnaps the girl in the NES game is gone. This is probably because you can play as Jimmy. Yeah, that's right, this cruddy old PC game had 2 players simultaneous play. More, I've read that when they made the NES version, they invented the whole Jimmy being the bad guy thing just to justify not having 2-player simultaneous mode. There is no excuse for it not being in the first NES game. I mean, they had it in 2 and 3, why not have it in the first one? But what are you going to do? That was 20 years ago. This game is a funny little time capsule, but I still feel a bit silly playing it. Even as a retro gamer, it's a little like owning a decent car of your own and trying to borrow the keys to the lump of crap your dad drives. I will say this for it though. This game really makes you understand in a big way what was so incredible about the NES. Forget the graphics and the sound. The NES does a better job of putting you in the action. But such is technology, and such is life. Believe it or not, I don't think this is freeware, so I can't tell you where to download it. But if you really want to try it, it shouldn't be that hard to find. Final verdict, there are better freeware games out there. Just let this video be your experience with the PC version of Double Dragon. I'm Critical Failure, and thanks for joining us on PC version.